mean, this is impacting people day to day, work
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
is so my mind went to that. And I think just however this shakes out, if these things seem to be, turn out to be true, what it underscores is just this, wow, intense competition.
Mm.
These shady tactics, potentially being used, extraordinarily aggressive shady tactics, potentially being used, in, to Jocelyn's point, this very sort of unsexy industry. Um, but
Yeah.
just it's frightening, really, to think about. These are companies that, these are, we're part of an industry that, make a great case to clients or potential
Yeah.
clients and customers about privacy.
Exactly that. And
And
I mean, yeah, I find it bizarre because everyone knows that your digital footprint, particularly at work, can be tracked and your searches can be tracked. So, um, it's like, what is the story here? It doesn't say. It's not particularly a sophisticated attempt, is it? I mean, Jocelyn, any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, here the really big thing that we need to be considering is insider threat programs,
yeah,
and cybersecurity software for
yeah,
organizations, especially organizations that are carrying such sensitive data, right? I mean, there's tons of software out there that can scan through abnormal activity, and kind of bring it to surface. The problem is often, especially for a larger company, those activities can be um, uh, in such high volume that their IT teams simply can't keep up with it all. So what do
Yeah.
you do?
Fine.
These softwares are going to have to prioritize in some way the threat. AI can certainly help with that. Insider threat, you know, generally is not going to sit under HR. It's something that's going to sit under IT or information security, cybersecurity, and so that's something that the organization as a whole is going to have to take a look at very seriously. And HR can get involved by talking about employer brand, and really kind of appealing to the rest of the organizational leadership on what type of support cybersecurity teams need in order to identify and attack situations like this.
Yeah, I think there's the really good points there, and
mm,
part of this is very funny, part of it is incredibly serious with incredibly serious implications. So, certainly makes it my HR story of the year so far.
yeah. So
Um, so far, it is only the end of March after all, and I'm sure someone might outdo it with something else. But let's move on to the next headline, which is very similar, equally potentially amusing and very serious. So this is out of the UK, and I'm interested to know whether anything like this would ever happen in the US. So you can sort of answer that for me in a second. So basically, what happened was this happened in an estate agent, so a realtor. People who sell property, and someone basically took their employer to an industrial tribunal and won because they moved them to a desk that they didn't want to sit at. So, a little bit of context, just a quote from the article. In this case, an estate agent with 8 years of service successfully claimed constructive dismissal after being asked to sit at a different desk upon his return to the branch, a move he perceived as demotion, and the tribunal agreed. So, in some ways, this seems completely ridiculous. In other ways, I think there's some really interesting underlying issues here. I remember back when I used to run a team, the worst part of my job was when we used to move around the office quite a lot because the company was expanding. We were moving offices. And the worst part of my job was deciding where everyone would sit because it was very emotionally highly charged. And